Hi, and welcome to Crypto Crazy. I'm Cal, and today I'm going to talk to you about a particular Bitcoin price prediction. And at the moment, we can see it's at 47,500 US dollars. But a few days ago, there was this prediction from Bitboy Crypto in which he said that it would reach 306,000 by this date. And this date is towards the end of September of this year, 2021. So, not that many months away. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this prediction is, as you can see, Bitboy Crypto has a number of subscribers, and his channel has grown from pretty much being around about 70, I think it was 70 something thousand subscribers about half a year ago to the size that it is now. So I imagine there's a lot of people who are new to the cryptocurrency world who are buying for the first time, and maybe they don't have as much experience or knowledge, and they're probably going to be watching these videos in the hope that someone with such a big following and who's been on YouTube in the cryptocurrency world would have done quite a bit of research, I would say, and have some sort of substance behind his models, as he calls them. But I'm just going to play this video very quickly and just show you what he says.
I averaged three models together, the stock and flow model at 289K, the Citi Bank in the last Bitcoin cycle, where Bitcoin 18x'd its previous all-time highs, which would put Bitcoin this time at 360K.
So sorry, it just jumped there a little bit in the middle, but basically what he said is there's three models, one being the stock to flow model, and I'll go into each one of these. The Citi Bank prediction, and as you heard at the end there, he said 18x from the all-time high it was at previously. Now, the stock to flow model is something that looks at commodities, so gold, silver, and anything else like that as well. And what it really does is has a look at what the supply is to what the current stock is of it around the world. So the way that this is being used possibly as a model is to say that there is a certain stock that is already out there that has been mined and as has been held, and how much new flow will there be, because we know that it has a finite supply. The problem with this is that this isn't a model that you can possibly use for Bitcoin, and that is very much because commodities are bought and held in a different way. So, for example, let's look at gold. So, gold is held in bank reserves, central bank reserves. Gold is bought by pretty much every single fund out there that has some sort of reserved position, especially during downturns. And that means that they want to have something that they can physically get their hands on. And it's been something that's been bought quite a lot in the last 50 years or so. And so using that same model isn't looking at the same types of assets. It's very much apples and pears. So I mean, I've got an article here in which it talks about how they've done that, and they've looked at it in the same way and tried to match it up. But I think it just doesn't sound like it's the right model to be using. So that, I think, initially isn't a good model. The second one he calls a model, but it very much isn't. It's a Citibank analyst who said that he could see the price of Bitcoin by the end of this year, 2021, and he said this towards the end of last year. It could be as big as, he says, the 318,000, which you'll see here. Now, it was tweeted by someone who was called Classic Macro, and he said Fitzpatrick, who was the analyst, is a big fan of moon targets. Now, there isn't any model behind it. It was just what he said he thought it would be. So is of little value, he says here as well. it's no there is no edge in guessing targets so far in time, and I think that is very much true. Here again, he talks about the analyst believes that it's an exponential move and very reminiscent of the 1970s gold market. Now, if you don't know about the 1970s gold market, gold was fixed to the price of the US dollar at $35. And Nixon at the time here, as it mentioned, he separated that so it could move freely. Now, if we just have a look at the price of gold, you can see it where it started to track there. It was lower and then it started to break out, and it's gone. I mean, to go from 35 to over 1,000. I mean, that hasn't even what would that be? Down from here, down from pretty much in the 30s up to 1,000, and that's over a space of 50 years. So I struggle to see how that could be a similar sort of comparison, but there is this comparison that is drawn in terms of it being like gold. And I think people calling it like digital gold is very much what puts that idea in people's minds. So this being a model of some such that Bitboy calls it a model, I don't think that's the case. And this last one saying that it's 18x from previous all times high. So the fact that in the last bull run the price went up 18x is expected to be an exact replica. It's not the right way to be looking at it. Circumstances are different. The shift within demand was very different as well. It's becoming more widely adopted now. And some people might say, well, that makes more reason for it to be. And that may be the case. And if we have a look at the price in terms of back here in 2013, when let's say even around about close to 200, it went up and it came down. And the fact that from 2013, in 5 years down the line, it had got to the price that it is now, or sorry, the price that it was there at the high, it's looking at 100xing from that point. And considering that when it was as low as, let's say, close to 3,000 here, then for it to go within 18 months from 3,000 to 300,000 is a very, very big increase. Now, I'm not saying it cannot happen. If the models were there and it justifies it and says this is what the model is, then you could say, yes, this makes sense. It may not happen, but I can see the reasoning as to why. I think these three reasonings are just not good enough. They're just almost numbers just created. And I think part of the reason is it's a YouTube channel. People will watch this and go, wow, do you know what? This is great. I like what this guy is saying. But the problem is if you do put it into it in the expectation that that's what's going to happen, and he says it a bit further down here, you'll be able to see, and he talks about when he thinks it's going to happen. And he's saying that his previous predictions were not correct and they are higher. And you can see here, if I just play it, you can see at the bottom, 306k by
how amazing is that?
By the 28th of September. And he says, how amazing is that? But on what basis? I mean, there really isn't any. And I think some of his subscribers can see that. Some people calling it out. Some people talking about how he had predicted 2,500 for Ether by Valentine's Day. And to be fair, 2,500 isn't that much higher than where Ether is now. I think this is very, very high at the moment. And I think a good understanding is about what I spoke about in my previous YouTube video about the way in which people who holds it as well, how it doesn't get traded through the exchanges. And I think there's a lot of people out there who, when it goes up very quickly, they sell. And as we saw it up here as well, they sell. They want to book in those profits. And because it's a very volatile market, it's because people buy very quickly and people sell very quickly. It's the FOMO. They FOMO in and they FOMO out. So this this I think is not a good prediction. I don't think it has a basis. Let's put it that way. And one thing I also want to say as well is people talking about how a Citibank analyst spoke about 300k or over 300k prediction. I think it's good to have a balanced view. Now, there was another analyst, a UBS analyst, who said it would go to zero. Now, Changpeng Zhao, who is the co-founder of Binance, speaks about why it's not in this article. But here's another analyst saying zero. So if we're looking at a balanced view, we can say that I don't think it's going to go to zero, but then there are two extremities as well. Here's one analyst say that it's going to be ridiculously high, and there's another one that's going to be ridiculously low. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. I think it's a bit irresponsible to put such a high number out there to such a big audience without any real justification. As you probably see, I don't subscribe to Bitboy crypto, and I did for a very little while, but I think there's a lot of videos that he does have that I think are probably not in line with what I think people should. I mean, this is, as you can see, this is one of the last videos that I watched of his, just to kind of go through it, and I was looking at the comments as well. You know, people saying, "I'm out. This guy's a sellout. This is telemarketing. He's milking us. I've unsubscribed." I mean, these are the most common comments that are made. We started hating your channel. Your ego is taken over. So, I think there are people who are realizing that maybe it isn't quite in line with what they expected, and maybe Bitboy and crypto has a different angle in which he's bringing out these videos. But more than kind of knocking him, you know, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. The only thing I wanted to really say is, considering he is such a big channel and he's put out that 306,000 USD price by September, I just wanted to kind of give you my take as to why, the reason why he said that, those three so-called models, which clearly, as I showed you, are not models at all, is something that it shouldn't be based upon. Because I think some people would have seen that he speaks about free models, thought that those free models were probably something of a lot bigger basis and more calculations, and realized it's a comparison to gold where there is none. It's something to do with, if it 18x from all times high before, it's going to happen again now. And some analyst who, as it says, has given a very extreme moon-like prediction, where you get certain other analysts who gives very low predictions. So just a bit of information there for you. It's a bit different to the sort of videos that I usually bring out. Like I said, I'm not trying to knock anyone. I'm not knocking Bitboy crypto. It's just to give you a bit more information about that price prediction. Obviously, it's up to people what they think is the right course for them in terms of investing and putting their money within Bitcoin and where they expect it to go to. I do genuinely believe over the very long term, it will get to those prices. If anything, it will probably get even higher. In the same way that at this stage, you know, we believe that it would get to here, but it's taken years, and maybe it'll be shorter going forward, that period of time, because it is becoming more adopted within funds and so on. But I do believe it will take time, and I do believe there's going to be a downturn as well. So yeah, hopefully you found that informative and useful. If you have, do give me a like. Do subscribe to the channel as well. I do bring you all types of videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.